stop there. We need to take this further. We need to claim a stake in the port of Mombasa. The same way that the Constitution clarifies and says that port ferries and harbors are a devolved function. Same way when we have other counties earning courtesy of wildlife, other counties are earning royalties courtesy of salt mines, other counties are earning courtesy of the tea and the coffee. It is only right that the natural resource that we have been blessed with, which made Mombasa what it is today, and made Mombasa to be the first amongst equals, was because we have been blessed geographically and by any other means to have the port as a natural resource. So this is the direction that we want to take. The second thing, which is going to be a game changer, and I'm glad in both the manifesto that we've presented, which is what we're telling the people of Mombasa, that this is what we intend to do, and this is what our scorecard will be judged on come 2027, is we need to ensure that we're at the forefront regarding the special economic zones. This is going to be a true game changer. Not only the Dongo Kundu, but I know that the current County Assembly had passed something on the Meritina Industrial Park as well. So we need to be on the forefront on these matters. Once we have been able to now churn that engine, and the role of any government is not to make money. The role of government is to facilitate its citizens to be able to enrich themselves. That is the true principle of governance. And that is what we should be able to do. And once we are able to achieve this, there is so much that different practitioners, including the legal fraternity, can be able to grow out of this. Now, an aspect, I've been going around the whole of Mombasa, literally going around the whole of Mombasa. And I've realized one thing. We need a stronger county attorney office. I'm not saying that the one that is there is weak, but we need to strengthen the county attorney's office. By ways of doing that, equally, as I told you, the role of government is to facilitate, to enrich the lives of the people, to make things easier. There's a lot of people in Mombasa who are currently going through public litigation for no fault of theirs. I'm not talking about the people who, the civic cases that the lawyers normally do. But I'm talking about cases, one classic example, child abuse, rape cases. Then you're telling the same person who is a victim, who has no income, whose economy is, is so badly off, and you're telling them that they still have to pay. Then we've got the others who are class cases, especially when it comes to matters to do with land, where we've got historical matters that are there, and you've got a whole area and a whole village of people being threatened to be evicted. And for some reason, they fail to get that legal representation. So our government is now saying that we will have to put up a whole section for public litigation. And this is a place where every single lawyer we will need people's services to come on board. I gave a pledge to university students the other day. And my pledge to them was, we will first start absorbing them. The young, I think he was there. And we said, we'll start absorbing them on attachment levels. Then once we're able, we absorb them. But I believe in performance. We absorb them and they grow based on their performances in the county. So it's not just an issue of just hiring, but even after hiring, we now look at ways of how we can be able to grow your talent, at the same time serve the people of Mombasa. And it can be done. It is achievable if we all put our mind to it. And many matters have been raised here regarding the I don't know if the chair wants to call it the Advocate Center, or because I know that the doctors would call this the Doctors Plaza. But we have two that we've already committed that we need to do. One, the county intends to grow out of this notion that the Coast General Hospital has to be, you know, this place where everything is just looked at as if it's just a public hospital and all that. So we are saying that why don't we consider putting up a Doctors Plaza with the facilities that are there, have a wing, actually to convert Coast General Hospital into a county parastatal. In the process of doing that, have an extra wing that can be able to generate income for those who cannot be able to afford. This is something that is equally achievable. The other part that we're looking at, in terms of turning Mombasa into a tourism destination, we have to get out of the norm of what the normal tourism is all about. So one of the things that we want to do, and we're looking at two partners to talk with. One is the KPA pension scheme, which for those who probably are serving them will realize that it is a pension scheme that has the capacity to be able to invest. The other is looking at institutions like KICC or the BOMAS, and we partner with them. Mombasa is a deal to open a conference center. We are ideal to open a conference center. Can you imagine a situation where what are people going to feel more comfortable with? Coming to Mombasa or going to a place where the weather is unpredictable, or getting delegates to be able to come to a place like Mombasa. So we want to now spearhead that. And again, role of government is not to make money, but to facilitate. So we need to look at ways of partnering where the county can now say that they're going to be earning from that conference facility, but equally as well, earning on behalf of the people, because every time we get visitors to come on board, people are going to be able to earn. And I see nothing wrong in partnering with yourself for us to be able to do something similar for the advocates. There is totally nothing wrong. As long as the land is there, by all means, we have no problem. I personally have no problem in saying that let us lease a property to the advocates, because with growth, you know, the only person who does not want growth, the only person who does not want positive change is a person who's 6 feet under. Because because any form of change for a person who's 6 feet under is rotting. So, but anyone who is living, anyone who's breathing, desires that level of positivity. And I think it is very, very feasible and very, very doable. Now, I want to give a challenge to the lawyers. I just heard about the Justice Center, and I've seen the pictures. These are very, it's in a pathetic state. From the pictures that I've seen, it's in a very pathetic state. Maybe what Mombasa Law Society could do, you have two options. On my part, constitutionally, had I still been a member of parliament before us going on our break, it would have been very ideal for me to raise it in the National Assembly. However, bearing in mind where we are, the two options that are there is one, a legal position where you can actually sue both the contractor and sue the JSC. But I'll give you a better option. The Public Audit Act allows you as a stakeholder to actually write and petition the Auditor General to conduct a forensic audit on that particular building. And the law allows you, the Constitution, this is the power of the document that you guys actually go through on a daily basis. The law and the Constitution of this country allows you to be able to do that. I would actually recommend that to yourselves. I've been chair of the Public Investment Committee for 5 years, and I've seen such kind of cases where we've seen people going to the Auditor General, and then those audit reports come to me to be able to go through them. And we've come up with very, very punitive actions on the people who actually broke these laws. It is doable. It is achievable. And I think that would be a better option than instead of us just lamenting and posting it on Facebook and everything else. We should surpass that, I believe. So it's a challenge to the lawyers to be able to do that. Now, there's a lot of issues that have been raised here. One is the issue of the trees, then there's the issue of the dengue fever, the fumigation, the water, and lastly, that the speaker should be a lawyer. Allow me to be able to just take you through the system of government that we intend to have is going to be totally different. Devolution came from Nairobi and gave power to Mombasa. The question is, should we allow devolution to die at town hall? Would we have achieved the desires of the citizens of this country that they wish for devolution? This is the reason why we should not be talking about why are we not fumigating. We should not be talking about this particular road has no a street light. We should not be talking about quite a number of these issues that are service delivery that the county government needs to do. So we are proposing, and there's going to be bills that we will be proposing and will be sending to the county assembly. One of the things that we intend to do is come up with a system which we call Serikali Mitaani. The County Government Act gives powers to the governor to actually come up with boroughs, administrative units. In Kiswahili, serikali za manispaa. That is what we intend to do. We cannot have a situation where someone in Likoni is being mugged or is getting dengue fever or has malaria. Why? Because facilities and everything else are at a central store in town. So we now are saying that we want to devolve all this. The county government, the current county government, reached a level of sub-county administrators and ward administrators. We intend to take it further by hiring village administrators, so that means that service does not just lie. The recent figures by IEBC, when you've got one place that has 30,000 plus registered voters, and you're expecting one ward administrator to be able to be in charge of that whole region. It's physically impossible, it's mentally mind-boggling, and you can only be able to achieve this by taking services back down to the village level. And this will include everything from vetting of those people who we want to give bursaries. It doesn't make sense for a team that has been put up together by the governor's office, and then we start saying that this is a team of 8 people that is going to vet thousands of bursary applicants, and they are seated somewhere, whether in Bima Towers, in County Hall, or wherever it is. Why don't we give these opportunities back to village levels, where we are saying that we've got the village administrator, we've got the ward admins, we've got the MCAs, and even after that as well, we've got a religious leader from that particular area. So they are the ones who take control of their own county and their own resources. And it is doable. It is very achievable. And lastly, I think I've been asked about water. As a member of parliament, I leave one legacy in MVITA. Every single public secondary school within MVITA constituency has a water purification and a desalination plant. I don't know whether there's any other constituency in the country that has been able to achieve that. But there are some things that we do for purposes of preparing yourself for tomorrow's positions. And I looked at it and I said, if we can be able to do this on a constituency level, I strongly believe that we can actually be able to do this on a county level. And I'll give you, facts and figures don't lie. 22% of the taps in Mombasa are connected to Mombasa water. The other 78% are dependent on boreholes and are dependent on water vendors through mkokoteni, an unhygienic process. We're not being fair to the ecosystem by continuously digging these boreholes. So, and then this is where the funny part is. It's actually cheaper for Mombasa Water to supply you water than for you to buy water from a water vendor. So why can't we be able to partner with investors, stakeholders? We have the ocean, we have the sun that never lets us down. Very, very few days in a year where it would not be as sunny as it actually always is. Why can we not be able to convert what is undrinkable to be something that is drinkable? In fact, we even take it further. Right now, we actually intend to do that. I hope that I'll be able to achieve this because I wanted to do this as a trial before reaching to governor level, where I'm putting up such a unit for a residential area. And for them to be able to tap in that water that has already passed through that process, you can actually have a smart card. So you load your smart card with certain units through your M-Pesa and everything else. And it's just simple technology that you can actually be able to receive the water for what you've paid for. It's being done in other parts of the world. These are the ideas that we currently have. And lastly, about the county speaker. And I know that when that was raised, a number of you clapped. There are 4 instruments that guide on the election of a speaker. It's the Constitution, it's the County Government Act, it's the electoral laws, and the standing orders of the County Assembly. Actually, my role is literally limited to one. After the elections, I now need to write to the county clerk and tell him that I intend the first sitting of the County Assembly should be on this date. Then thereafter, the first course of action that happens is the County Assembly members are sworn in. After they're sworn in, their first course of action is to elect a speaker. The governor actually has no vote. In fact, he's not even there. The spirit of the current constitution and the system of government that we have is that executive should not attach itself with the legislative arm of government, which is a very beautiful system. But I challenge any lawyers who wish to have such a position, because what is going to happen is a position will actually be advertised in the papers, and now it is up to you to actually apply. And then after applying, you'll now need to canvass with the gracious lady here, Ria, and her colleagues, who by the time of finishing are going to be 42 members of the County Assembly. That includes the nominated. From there, you got a place like Nairobi. I think they had, 18 people who vied? 18, isn't it? In the National Assembly, we had, I think, 3 people who vied. There was Mturi, and there was others as well who wanted to vie. So with those very, very many words, I'm looking forward to engaging with yourself. There's one thing I didn't mention, and I don't want to sit down and be held liable for it. The issue of pending bills. And when this was mentioned as well, a lot of you clapped that we are not being paid. Now, I know my job actually is not literally, and I always say this. I always say that my job is not to win the election. I do not believe that that is my job. My true job is going to be from 9th of August. That is where I'm going to get all these issues on my head. But I'll tell you what I intend to do. I'll give you just a small example. The workers who Jason has signed their appointment letters demand for a payment of salaries. And we've been having a situation where people are not being paid on time. Out of the spirit of being proactive, I've already started negotiating and discussing. The only thing we cannot sign right now is because I'm not legally mandated to do so yet. But we are signing up with a financial institution that at any given time, the exchequer delays, we will guarantee through the exchequer a certain financial institution and let salaries be paid on time. So if it's 24th, we're paying salaries, let everyone's salaries be paid at least on time. So that is one issue out of the way. Then the only thing we're waiting for now is the exchequer. When it comes in, it takes over the money. The bank takes back its money with the little charges, and we're hoping that we will negotiate something that is going to be very conducive. Then the second issue that is going to be lying on my neck is pending bills. I've discussed this matter with the Office of the Auditor General, and we're in agreement that whatever has already been audited, whatever has been cleared by the Office of the Auditor General, one, don't expect to be, I've been with the Public Investment Committee for 5 years. First of all, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act does not even allow you to be able to procure a service or procure an item if you don't have the money. So first of all, I intend to follow it very strictly. If we don't have the money, we will wait until we get the money and that money has been allocated so that we don't have these problems of pending bills anymore. Then now comes the issue of all the backlog. We have no option. We will have to sit down and negotiate with people and tell them we're in agreement that you have to be paid, but do not expect to be paid all of it at a go. Because what is feasible is feasible. What is unrealistic is unrealistic. And I would rather be judged that I was able to pay over a certain period of time than be judged as a governor who is a liar. I hope that makes things quite clear, isn't it? And lastly, I've been asked about ruffling feathers. Sometimes, not sometimes actually, every time, dialogue is always the best solution. So many times we end up getting into loggerheads because people fail to talk. And when you talk and you discuss matters, it is always better. So I propose, due to the workload that you have already bestowed on me, it might not be easy for us to meet But I do propose that we can be able to meet either quarterly or biannually, and we can now be able to discuss on these matters. I think that would be a better approach, isn't it? So once again, thank you very, very much. I don't know if you guys can smell, but there's a lot of chicken there. Huh? And some of us have been up and about from morning. So we will not mind a bit of silence for the food. So once again, thank you very, very much. And you let me know whenever it is that we are ready. By all means, we will definitely be more than willing to engage you on any issues. And please feel free. Our manifesto is there. We're open to positive criticism of ideas and suggestions. Most important is Mombasa. Thank you very much and be blessed.